Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Gaming Hour. I'm your host Anthony, and today we are going to be doing starting our new tutorial series on Hearts of Iron 4, how to get started, and because this is a very complicated strategy game. When I first looked at it, I'm like, okay, I need to go watch some stuff, and even there, it's like still confusing. It takes a long time to get used to the game. I put in 200 plus hours myself on this game, and now I want to help you guys learn it, get to know it, get more comfortable with the systems and how it works and how to be good in it and not totally suck like I did. I'm going to try to explain things as clearly and as concisely as possible. And after this video, if you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the description below, and I'll be sure to answer anything that you have to say. So let's get started. We're going to start our new game, and how to start a new game, we hit single player, we hit new game, and then we can either select two scenarios, either the 1st of January 1936, which is essentially the earlier start. You can better customize your nation and how you want your nation to be, whether you want to change your ideology or different troop formations. Or we can do the 14th of August 1939, which will essentially bring you as close as possible to the Second World War if you just want to jump into the action as historically as possible. I don't recommend the latter one because it's it kind of throws you in not in having as much control over the events and your allies and your troops, but it's still a good way if you want to just get into the battle quick and see how things work. But if you're more experienced and you want to try to actually build up a nation on your own wishes, 1936 is for you. So we're going to select that one, select scenario, then it will allow us to choose our nation of choice, which is these ones up here are like the big guys, the ones that they recommend you play: France, the United States, UK, German, Italy, Japan, and the Soviet Union. And then these down here are more minor nations that have larger roles in the war. For example, Poland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and the British Raj or India. Or you can choose other countries, where if you select that, you can choose essentially any country in the world, any at all, even wee little Luxembourg right here, this little guy. But we're not gonna do that, so we're gonna back up, set all this up again, and we're just gonna play as Germany. Germany is probably the easiest starter nation, that or the United States, because both start with the United States starts more isolationist and allows you to build up for a longer period of time without having to worry about Japan or Germany or Italy do anything about you. Or Germany, you start with a massive military, a lot of power, a lot of resources, and you can essentially just overwhelm the Allies quickly. But if you want like a more challenging start, or if you're more experienced, try playing Japan, Italy, France, or the UK, possibly even the Soviet Union, because they are more of a, you have to build them up, and you have to really, or any of the minor nations too, can't forget about those guys if you want more of a challenge. Anyway, let's stop rambling, select our country. This just shows us some little tips about us, little national focuses that we can go down, some buffs we have, which is the general staff. We have better generals, whatnot, and we can create factions, and our ideology will not drift as quickly. So we'll select that country, and then it brings you to this screen. It'll show you, who's the leader, what ideology, government, next election, ruling party, all that stuff. Again, your buffs, your ideology right here. So we are fascist, but we can go communist or democratic if we wanted to. I've tried going democratic. I don't enjoy it because then there's no major enemy. And then down here is your difficulty. You can either set it to recruit, regular, or veteran. You have to have, and there's also achievements. To have achievements, you have to have it set to regular and iron mode, which Iron Man mode is where you cannot continuously save the game. So say you screw up and you just want to revert back to an older save before the screw up happened. Iron Man says no, you cannot do that. You have to live with all your choices, which I prefer because that's kind of a pansy move for me, in my opinion. But it's up to you. And then veteran for those real challenge. There's a little custom difficulty, so you can kind of boost your nation for an extra edge. I recommend that for starters. We're not going to do it. So, how do I close that? And then historical AI focus. So they'll go down more traditional paths. Like they'll, go after, say, like not ally someone instead of going to war with them. You'll understand that more once we get into the game. We're not going to set that on. So we're going to start. Save and play. And it'll load in your game. And now, boom, you're presented with all of this. And you're like, whoa, okay, what's first? Well, let's start at the top, work our way right down and left. So we're going to start up here. This is our political screen. So it will show us essentially an overview of our nation. It'll show our leader, Great Adolf, our national focus, which we'll get to in a moment, our spirits, or our buffs, our ideology, which is fascist, our pie chart for ideology, so we can see how much we are of an ideology, which we're 60% fascist, 20 democratic, and 20 communist. Then we have our laws and governments, which is our conscription laws, how many are essentially our manpower buffs, our exports. Trade is very kind of odd. I still don't fully understand it, but I understand it enough where we're not going to get into any of that on this episode. Our mobilization or our factory output, and then some political advisors who will give us additional buffs. Our designers and theorists, which will give us buffs for research or production. And then our military staff, which is more buffs towards our military. And then we have managed occupied territories, and our subjects. We have neither of those. Occupied territories would be areas we've conquered and annexed. And managed subjects would be puppets or things of that nature, like India to Britain, etc. So that's that. Then we have our research tab. These are technologies we can research, and we'll go into the research stream more, but just know that's that. Then we have our diplomacy tab, where we can essentially go around to other nations and do little diplomatic things, like I could justify a war go against Italy, and we'll get into declaring war and all that later, or I can invite them to a faction. We'll get into that another time. We have trading between nations for additional resources. I'm just going to say resources are essential for a fluent military. If it's not necessary to have a surplus of a resource. For example, we need a lot of things, but I can still survive without those resources. Resources will essentially make production easier for your military, but it's not essential to have resources in surplus. They can't be needed. It's not recommended, especially not when you're new, but don't get too overwhelmed with this screen. Then your construction, so you can produce like civilian factories, military, dockyards, refineries, bunkers for your nation to protect or increase production. We're not getting into that. Our recruit and deploy, so we can make our new divisions. This game is played from a division standpoint, so you're going to create, say I wanted to build one infantry division. We have an infantry division right here. This division is one unit. This one unit occupies one tile. Several divisions can occupy a single tile. It's infinite based on the supply, and we're not getting into that because that's really complicated. I don't even understand that myself. But essentially, divisions are your play toy. You push them around, you have them attack other divisions, and they take ground for you. This allows you to create, train, and add however many, and then once they are trained and supplied, you can deploy them wherever you so choose. Then logistics. This shows how much equipment you have for an item. Say you have your towed artillery. I have one unit stored in reserve. It also shows your resources down here, what you need. So I need 13 oil and 5 rubber. Oil and rubber for Germany is very difficult to get, seeing as how most of that is down in Asia. So we definitely want to have Japan as a trading partner and have Japan be successful, so that way we can trade with them for those resources. We'll get into that another time. Up here we have our national unity. National unity is our okay, so you're at war with another nation and they're beating you. Your national unity will essentially determine how quickly you will surrender. Since we are at 90, it will take a long time for us to actually surrender. We will be pushed back essentially to the last man. And that's good. So then we have political power. The political power gives us abilities to do diplomatic things with other nations, or national focuses, etc. This is our manpower. Our manpower is how many, is our people, We recruit people and then we push them into the military. This number is telling us how many spare manpower we have. We need to have some in reserve, so we can't just throw them all into the military. We have to keep some in reserve so we can reinforce the divisions that are injured or lose men during the war. Then we have our factories, our military, naval, and civilian factories. That's just a show there. Then we have Army, Navy, and Air experience. That's essentially for creating variants of airplanes or ships or tanks, all that. Then we have our convoys. Convoys are used for transporting troops, doing naval invasions, or trading. So you definitely want to have a lot of convoys. We have our research slots. So we already went through that. Pretty much. This tab here essentially shows you what you can do. So it says, okay, you have 4 research slots available. Okay, let's choose our research slot. It says free civilian factories. Oh, okay, we can build up some civilian factories. This, our production screen, brings all that up. Our national focuses. Our national focuses are ways we can essentially kind of push the story along. See, we have Rhineland right here. This will essentially get rid of our demilitarized zone right here, but would also aggravate France. It's essentially drives along the narrative and gives you little boosts or demeanors, whatever. Okay, so over here, this is our unpause, pause. This game is a real-time strategy game, but it can be paused. So, say I just want to start the game, so I unpause it, I put speed at 5, things will move normally. If I want to pause it, say, look at something or choose research, I don't want to miss anything, I just hit pause and it'll pause the game for me. You can also lower the speed with this by or hitting a plus and minus. Then we have our music controller, and we have an overview of the Army, Navy, and Air. I really don't ever use these. Our achievement tab, so we can see what achievements we want to get. This is the world tension. World tension is essentially how close the world is to brewing over into a full world war. When the scale reaches 100, the world will essentially go to war, and the full allies will join in the war, and full Axis and the full Comintern and Chinese United Front, all that will just start fighting each other. That is essentially endgame, more or less, or no, the start of endgame. And we'll get into that more once we begin playing more. Then we have the main menu, help, and dismissed alerts items right there. Don't worry about those. Then down here on the right, we have our default map mode, our Navy map mode, which will essentially show us all the naval provinces here, and our air map mode, all the different air provinces. And that's useful for sending out your Navy or your air or your land. Generally, keep it on land because you're usually fighting with just land units. Then we have our supply areas. What area? And this is kind of confusing to explain right now, so I'm not going to get into it. We have our states, our resistance, which there is no resistance yet because no one's conquered anybody. Our resources, our diplomacy, and our factions. We are the leader of the Axis. Britain is leader of the Allies, and USSR is leader of Comintern, and eventually China will be leader of the Chinese United Front. Those are the 4 major factions that can be joined. You can eventually, if you want, if you're not a leader of any of the major factions, you can create your own faction and invite people in and change up the world as you wish. Then down here we have the Allied battle plans, which we're not going to see any because we don't have any allies yet. Unit icons, so it kind of makes it easier to see. If you disable it, it's just going to show green as yours. I like it set to gray, so that way it's more color towards your nation. And then there is the nighttime night cycle. So there is a night cycle. Let's just speed it up. As you see, it comes like day, night. But on speed 5, it like disables that so it's not completely like spazzing the screen out. We'll just keep it off. And then right here is your generals or your armies. So let's just drag all our armies together and we'll create a new army. Now this army, we can select a general. Let's just have it von Cluj. And now he's going to give this 26 divisions a bonus of combat width. I don't fully understand the combat width or any of that yet. I'm going to indulge myself for the next few episodes and then I'll get back to it. So now you have all these options which you can use with your army. I'm not going to go into that yet. But yeah, that is essentially the start of the game. That is the full HUD. Oh, and here's your theaters. So you'll see your army right here. You can have several theaters so it's more organized. You don't have a billion armies down here. But yes, that is essentially the HUD and how to start a single player game on Hearts of Iron 4. I like doing tutorials for you guys. If you guys want to see more or see a full playthrough of a Hearts of Iron 4 game, which I would be happy to do for you guys, be sure to drop a like and comment down below letting me know, because I really need some feedback from you guys. I don't know what you guys like, what you don't like, and your responses on the video really help me out. So if you could do that for me, that would be ecstatically amazing. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.